Hey, what's up guys? I'm Dan. Today we are going to be building our PR-1100. All right, so first we'll go over everything that is going to come in your box. We're going to have our 4 main uprights here, our Logo Plate Crossmember, 2 base pieces, 1 main base crossmember, 2 upper crossmembers, pull-up bar, safeties, J-cups, 6 of our brackets here for the upper cross members, little rubber feet, and our 3 hardware packs here. You'll notice these 2 hardware packs are going to be the exact same. One of these is going to have 13 bolts, the other is going to have 12, so at the end you will have 1 extra bolt here, so don't be alarmed when that comes across. We just put it in there just in case you need it, and then all of our washers and nuts. All right, tools needed for this one. We're just gonna need a size 17 wrench or an adjustable wrench if you have it, a size 17 socket or a second 17 wrench. I'm gonna use a socket and a ratchet. You can use a drill if you would like. Just be careful when you are using the drill not to over tighten the bolts because you could damage your equipment. All right, so you can see we got all our pieces kind of laid out here. The first thing that we're gonna do, and there are different ways to do this is just the way that I'm gonna do it today. It's a little easier, is I'm gonna build the sides as they're on the ground here. Or I'm sorry, not the entire side, but just connect the upright to the base. And we're gonna stand it up, connect it to the main base here, and then we're gonna do the same with the other side. So with all the bolts, you're gonna notice all these are gonna be the same length, so you don't need to worry about grabbing the right bolt. You're gonna notice that these 8 bolts here, called carriage bolts, they're gonna be the ones with the little square neck. You can see that on the video there. These bolts are going to be the ones that we use to connect the uprights to this lower base. This bottom piece, they're both the same, so you don't need to worry about left or right. Turn it on its side here. And with this bolt, it's going to come in from the bottom. You'll see that the holes are square. Pop in there, and then we're going to use a flat washer and a nut. Flat washer first, then the nut. One thing to also pay attention to on these uprights, one side's gonna have numbers, the other side's not. So I guess just orient that however you want on your personal rack. I'm gonna have the numbers facing the front on this one. All right, now we got the one side, we're gonna go ahead and do the same thing to the other side. All right, now we got both sides done. Normally, I would say wait to tighten everything until the very end, which we're still gonna do, but I do recommend for this part just to snug these bolts up a little bit so that way when you stand it up, the uprights aren't gonna be flopping all over the place. All right, now that we have those kind of tightened down a little bit, we can go ahead and connect it to the rear main base. So the bolts we're gonna need are gonna be these long ones. Like I said, they're all the same size, but we are gonna wanna pay attention to the big washer here, big flat washer. This is gonna go on the back side of the main base cross member. And it's basically just acting as a brace so the bolt doesn't suck through the metal. All right, so first we'll line up our base piece here. Got our bolts, go ahead and stand the uprights up. If you have a helper, great. If not, it's possible to do by yourself. Get the holes lined up. So we got our big flat washer on the back, then we're gonna go small flat washer on the front and nut. All right, so we got the first side up. We can move on to the second. Same thing, stand it up. All right, now we got all of our uprights up. We can move on to our next step, which is going to be the brackets. Come over here and grab them. So all these brackets are gonna be the same. There's gonna be one on either side of the front uprights and one on the outside of the rear upright. So these brackets are basically gonna sit up here, these 2 holes, and they're gonna hold our upper cross member. So we'll come down here and grab some bolts first. So So you notice one side has 3 holes. We're gonna use the bottom 2 for this step. Connect them. You can see on the upright, the 2 holes. Go to the top first. It's okay if it spins. Connect that. We'll do the same with our other bracket. Go ahead and orient it the correct way. And just like that, so you can see that we got 2 more holes up top here that are sitting above the upright. In the next steps, we're gonna connect our cross member with those holes. All right, so we got the one side done. Go ahead and move on to the other side and do the same exact thing. All right, now that we have both of our brackets installed on the front of our uprights, we can come over here and grab our upper cross members. So we're just gonna grab one for now. You'll notice on this cross member, you're gonna have 4 holes up here in the front, 2 in the back. We're gonna use the 2 holes at the very front to connect these brackets to. These other 2 holes are gonna be later for our pull-up bar, but we can go ahead and attach this to the first cross member now. I'm gonna slide it in between the brackets, and you can just rest it on the back upright here for the time being. And there we go, now we can move on to the other side. All right, for our next step, we're gonna be installing the Logo Plate Crossmember. We're gonna need our 2 brackets. We're gonna be needing 2 bolts. And grab the bolts. We're not gonna need any nuts for this step. You'll notice here that this top hole is threaded. So that's the hole that we're gonna do first. For this step, if you have a partner, great, it's gonna make it easier. If you don't, I'll kind of show you the tips that I use just to do it by myself. So I got my brackets here. I'm gonna go ahead and put one in my back pocket. We're gonna come around the back here. I'm gonna be on my step stool just to make it easier. Go ahead and put 1 bolt away also. So on the bracket, we're gonna use this top hole in the corner here. We're gonna go ahead and get the bolt through. We're gonna come to the top, get it through that upper cross member. Take our logo plate, and we're just gonna thread it into that threaded hole on the cross member. Got it in there. And then we're gonna come to the other side here. Just kind of hold up the cross member if you can. Go to that top hole on your bracket. Come around here. And thread it through. And there we go, you can just let it hang from there. All right, so we got a logo plate up there, it's hanging. We're gonna go ahead and put the 3 bolts on each side in the appropriate holes. Go ahead and just grab all of them. All right, now that we've got the rest of the bolts in the logo plate cross member, we can move on to the pull-up bar. So just a tip, again, pay attention, this is gonna be the big flat washers, once again, on the outside of each cross member. You can just let them sit in there, you don't need to put the nut on yet. We'll do the same to the other side. All right, got our bolts up. Go ahead and grab the pull-up bar. You'll see that one side is our 1.25 diameter, the other is our 2-inch. You can orient that however you want. Totally up to you. I'm gonna put the smaller bar in the front for now. So I'm gonna come up over the top here. Again, easier to do with the helper. but if you don't have one, it's possible without it. Pop those through. Bar shouldn't go anywhere, and now we can put our washers and our nuts on. All right, got our pull-up bar on. Now, as you can see, we got our 1100 fully built. The last step would be just to come around, tighten up every bolt. I recommend starting at the bottom, working your way up. That'll keep everything nice and square. And last, we can put on our rubber feet. And just for video's sake, I'm not gonna tighten anything up today. But basically, our rubber feet come right here on the bottom. You can just kind of lift up, just barely like I did there. Come around to each side and slide those feet on. And last, all we have left now is just our J-cups and our safeties. Obviously, this is gonna be personal preference, how you put these on. Pretty easy there. And safeties, just gonna slide through the front, into the back, and lock down into place. And there you have it. All right, and there you have it. PR-1100 fully assembled. I hope this video helps, and enjoy.